What's up, everyone? This is Matt, that's Opie, and that's James, and you are watching TV Punch for Tuesday, October 13th, and tonight we are talking about the Season 6 premiere of The Walking Dead.
Woohoo!
It's
Woo!
finally back on. We missed it, Season 5. It got much better than a couple seasons before it, which we didn't really enjoy that much, but it's back. And we we haven't really talked much about it, but I think we're gonna have a couple of differing opinions. I really enjoyed it, and Opie, I think you did too, because we talked about it just a little bit on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was really interesting the way it jumped back and forth between what they're doing now, their plan to basically herd the herd or the horde, or did they call it herds or hordes of zombies?
Herds.
Herds. Basically their plan to drive the zombies away from Alexandria. I was really confused when it first started. I didn't really know what they were doing. It just started with them standing in a
Right.
gravel pit, and there's a bunch of zombies down there. I didn't know how that worked, but they did explain it through some little bit of back and forth. Basically, here's what we're doing now. Here's how we got here. But James, what did you? Oh, and let's go ahead and say spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it yet, pause this, go watch it, come back. You'll be glad you did. But James, I think your opinion is going to be different.
Well, I liked it, and just the fact that it was back. I'm happy that the show's back, but just I don't know, just the general direction of where it's going, and I'm just not very happy with. But I'm with you. Like I started out so confused on because they haven't really done that a lot with the black and white and kind of like
Right.
jumping back and forth. So in the beginning, like my wife and I were watching together. I'm like, so wait, now was this before? Or was this? And then whenever Daryl starts building the bike, then you're kind of like, or getting the bike back. You're like, okay, so this was before that happened. So it took a little while for me to get my bearings straight. But I like the episode. But just the overall direction of where the story is going for the season, it's just kind of like.
Well, you had said
I
something a
feel like
little
we're back
while
on the
ago
farm.
about like Rick. It's more of Rick saying, I do this because I said so, or something like that.
Yeah, he's just he just seems like a whiner. I don't. I'm just kind of over Rick at this point, and I
Really?
wish. Yeah, I don't know. He's just starting to rub me the wrong way. I think it started with the end of the last season when he just his tough guy tore up face persona. I don't know.
It's a Rick Tater shit, man. Well, dude, the black and white that tells you that it was done in the past. That's your visual cue. But it took a while to get there, to get to like a flashback scene, and I was just so confused. Where did all these walkers come from? Because I thought maybe they had herded them themselves into that spot, and they were just going to throw like a bunch of grenades or something.
Well, that was the whole thing. It's like if you have them herded up together in a tight little spot like that, that's when you destroy them. You don't be like, hey, let's take them on a marching band parade around our base and do a little
But they
victory lap.
explain why they do that at the end, guys. Did you not understand why they did that?
Dude,
Why
what? Why they didn't
They,
kill them?
why they decided to herd them out.
Why?
Well, because all of the noise from all of them together was attracting more and more and more and more walkers.
Right.
So you,
So
so
they
you
ha-
have an ability to herd them up, kill them, and then let it fill back up, and then kill them again while your little town is completely peaceful.
Well,
Like that seems like that's like the perfect.
Well, I just
Yeah,
kind
in
of
a
thought
way.
later that watching, I was like, maybe they just don't have the means to destroy that many
possible.
walkers. I mean, there's so many
Possible.
there. But as I was watching this, every time we would go to a black and white flashback scene, I was thinking about the comics, and the comics are black and white. They've always been black and white, probably always will be. And I was thinking, gosh, what if they had done the whole show in black and white all the time to mirror what the comics? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that wouldn't suit. I don't think that would suit the normal folk. But my take on the entire thing was I was really really happy with the episode because I was like James felt after the episode. I was ready to hang it up on Rick because I'd read bits of the comic and saw some of the previews, and here I thought this first episode was going to be, I'm Rick. Rah rah rah. I'm Rick. You do this, you do that, and then here comes Morgan, he's the voice of reason. No, you can't do this, Rick, because of this. And he's like, yes, I can, because I'm Rick. And that was going to be the whole episode. They did that, but they did it in a way that they kept my attention. It's like, look, Opie, here's a big bunch of zombies, and we're going to hurt them out. But here's the story that we want to tell. Here's what we're trying to tell is what's happened the whole time until that. So they kind of give me bits and pieces of both stories, but kept me interested with the whole hurting of the zombies while telling that story, and didn't waste a whole episode of me sitting here going, it's a season premiere, and I have to listen to Rick tell everybody why he's the greatest, and Morgan trying to tell him why he's not. And they let poor Rusty in how many episodes, and he gets killed. So yeah, Rusty from Vegas Vacation.
I was like, who's Rusty? Yeah, Ethan Embry. Yeah, that was So that's the thing is like I was like, oh, Ethan Embry's going to be in this season. He's I've seen him in lots of things. He's Rusty. He was in Empire Records and all this other stuff. And I thought he was. I was trying to place before this episode. I was trying to place okay, which character from the books could he be? Watch the show. Okay, I guess he's an original character for the show. No big deal. Oh, he's clashing with Rick, and they worked through their differences, and they shook hands, and they're good now. Oh, he got eaten in the face, and he's dead, and he's screaming, and he's messing up their plans. So let me ask you this. And actually, real quick, let me say, Opie, I like that opinion about they're telling. Walking Dead is very character driven, and it's a lot of story. It's not a zombie show. It's a story about people living with this situation. That's what it's always been. But I like your take on the fact that they are telling you a story, but in order to keep your attention and to keep you engaged, that's a better way to take it. Keep you engaged. They're flashing back to, hey, here's a ton of zombies, and we're gonna do something with them.
Yeah, that whole first episode was like one of those issues in the comic where you're like, gosh, come on, just okay. We're talking, and then we finally get around to doing something. And that's what I was really fearing with the first episode. But I was like, holy crap, that's a crap ton of zombies, and there's an 18-wheeler falling off, and everybody's running to do stuff, but I don't know some of these new people. And then all of a sudden it flashes back, and I started understanding why it was flashing back, because, they're going to have to tell what happened in the community up until that time. So yeah, I was down with it. I was down the way they tricked me into watching it that way, like that. That's what I consider it.
If we just scatter scenes of zombies throughout the story that we're trying to tell, Opie will watch, and he'll enjoy it.
At the end, they introduce the villain. It's not going to be the one thing I was kind of excited about. There's not going to be a Rick versus himself versus the rest of the tribe or whatever. It's going to be there's an actual somebody that seems like whoever blew the horn at the end is going to be the nemesis this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing who that is. Like, the cannibals were the nemesis. Like there's always a villain. And like, how many more villains can you have in this show?
Well, there's in the comics there is one more really really bad guy that they haven't gotten yet in the show. And it's still in the show. I know they're not following the comic exactly, but they're not. And I won't say anything about him just in case you haven't read the comics. But
I haven't.
In the show, it's too early to introduce this other guy. So they're building up to that, and there's rumors that he's going to show up in the season finale of this one, and then be prominent in the next season or two. He's a real bad dude. I mean, he makes the governor look like a princess or something, but it's too early for him yet. But that's the question. So that's the big question about this whole episode is who blew the horn?
That started leading the zombies back to
Alexandria. I mean, obviously it was done deliberately to kind of mess up to draw them towards Alexandria, to mess up their whole plan and to basically have them attack the town. There's one theory that I read that maybe it was I can't remember the. Again, we're bad with names, everybody. If you've seen any of our Game of Thrones videos, we're bad with names.
You might be thinking the same guy that I am.
No, well, I was thinking it was maybe one of the sons of the woman that Rick was kind of flirting around with, and he killed her husband. It was one of the.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think I don't see a kid doing that. Who do you think?
Where was that? Did they show that Nicholas guy? Was that his name, Nicholas? The guy who got into it with Glenn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is he there at the wall with them?
He was with Glenn And
Okay.
Yeah, he was
when
with
they
All
Jordan
right.
were,
when
So
they
looking at,
broke
okay,
through
then it
that.
wasn't him.
yeah,
But yeah, that's
Well, who was behind the W's that are carved into the
the
zombies' heads?
wolves.
Yeah.
Well, we
Do we
don't.
know that yet?
Not in the show. We don't know who that is yet. So that's the obvious choice. Is okay. Well, the wolves are in Alexandria, or they're close. They're close enough to draw the walkers that way. Because we definitely haven't seen the last of them, and we haven't really seen much of them at all. You know, they kidnapped Morgan near the end of last season, and then we've seen a bunch of the W's in the walkers' heads. But other than that, we haven't seen anything of them. But we know they're out there. So I'm wondering
uh
if it's going to be
can I
one of them.
can I say my favorite part of the
Yeah.
show? This part was hilarious. Was when Carter is having the little secret meeting, and Eugene first stumbles in the back,
Yep.
and then Rick comes busting in.
Yeah,
That dude's
that's
probably
great.
like, seriously, like I can't just like have a little meeting here without all these dudes busting in on me and snooping. And
But he was planning
Rick
to
comes in,
kill
he's
Rick,
like,
so you know.
Rick comes in like, what's going on here, guys?
So
No, he didn't know, but he walked in on Carter aiming a gun at Eugene, so of course he's going to be that way. If he had just walked in and they were all just standing around talking, he wouldn't have acted like that.
Worst secret meeting planner ever.
it was terrible.
Well, it's because they didn't. You know, Rick said he would have planned.
And everybody
watch,
bailed
watch
on
outs,
him too.
lookouts.
Everybody bailed on him. He's like,
Yeah,
essentially,
everybody
it was
else is like, I don't know what he's talking about,
Yeah,
Rick.
I don't know. It wasn't me. I'm just getting a sandwich. And Carter just starts talking about whatever. It's not me. I'm cool. We're cool.
he pulled the safeties on or whatever. He's like, give me that. What do you think about the part where they flash back to them building the wall at the turn, and those that five creepers walk up and Rick wants those
yeah.
to learn how to do it themselves.
Jeez.
It's like learning how to ride a bike without training wheels. You just got to do it, man. You're never gonna learn if you don't just if your dad doesn't let go of the bike and you just take off.
Yeah.
How else are they gonna learn? I mean, it really is pretty neat how there is this whole community of people that have survived this long, but yet they don't know how to survive. They've just kind of gotten lucky.
Yep.
And then when confronted with a walker, they don't know what to do at all. But yeah, I liked it. You're gonna have to learn sometime, you know. But then of course it goes south and they have to jump in. But
I mean, if I'm in the zombie apocalypse, I'm not just carrying like a bow staff. You know?
And he was cleaning it, and it was the end of a broomstick.
I
It
know.
wasn't even like a real hard piece of wood.
it's not. It looks like a stick. It looks like it has knots in it and stuff like that.
Well, when he was cleaning it, it looked like the end of a
I
broom
mean, come
handle.
on.
He's
Seriously,
carved it down
a stick.
that well. He's good with it.
I guess it wouldn't. I wish it wouldn't be too bad against rotten zombie flesh, and that's one good thing
Yeah.
about the makeup. You know, you have to say that it has. If you pay attention to that sort of thing, but as time goes on, that flesh rots, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of rot.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
That
when
one
the one
guy-
walker walked between the
Yeah,
trailers and it like
yeah.
peeled his
Stuff
whole.
open.
That was a good one. What about how like they're hitting the wall so violently, like,
Yeah.
like
And it hit
blood's
the-
splattering up?
Yeah.
I thought the wall was. I thought it was gonna fall down.
Because resident expert zombie killer Craig that I work with, who's read the Zombie Survival Guide and all that stuff, he talks about how in a real zombie apocalypse, like you always want to go where it's cold because zombies can't move fast in the snow and cold, and flesh rots, and as time goes on, they can't sustain their own weight and they fall down and break down a lot more. So
That's a good point. If their skulls are brittle enough to where you can just smash through it with a stick, basically, how are their bones strong enough to hold them up? That's something I never thought about before. I mean, that's not unique to The Walking Dead. That's just
I know,
anything.
right?
Right? Why was everybody so taken aback? Or not everybody, Morgan and Michonne. Why were they so taken aback with him stabbing Carter in the back of the head after he got his face eaten off? Because he's
Morgan's
if you don't
Morgan's-
do that, he's going to come back as a walker. You've got to take care of
Morgan's,
it.
but he's not dead yet. Just remember, just because you're getting bit doesn't mean you're going to be infected. You have to die.
Well,
I
but
don't- I
once
think
you get
Rick's-
bit, the infection takes over.
Well, I think Rick's to the point that he just doesn't want to try to. I mean, once you're that far along, it's pretty much game over. If you sustained a serious injury like that, it pretty much had taken his cheekbone off and filled his eye socket up, and Morgan and Michonne. Morgan's all about life. He says all life is precious. He's going
Yeah.
to preserve life. That's Morgan's thing. Then that's where they're going to butt heads. It's because Morgan's going to think everybody's worth saving. I think going forward, and Rick's
Yeah.
past that point. He's way past that point.
Yep. Yeah, Morgan's kind of turned into like the Tibetan monk with his staff and his peaceful thinking and stuff.
And I don't know how you can explain they when Morgan at the end of the last season and Morgan walks right in after he just blows this guy's head off. Okay, why is there not like a come to Jesus meeting between him and Morgan? Like there was never a real conversation about that point like I thought there would be. I mean, because Morgan knew him back in the day as one person. Now he's seeing this totally different person. And then I don't know how there's not any conversation from there now on.
Well, it's almost like they've switched roles too, because a couple seasons back when Rick met up with Morgan again, Morgan was crazy. He had barricaded himself in, and Rick was like, "Dude, it's cool. Don't there's still hope and that kind of stuff." And now it's completely flipped, where Morgan's all peaceful and stuff, and Rick's killing everybody. No matter, if the wind changes and he shoots somebody in the face. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he should have sat down and said, "Look, I know this looks bad. He was beating his wife. He killed another guy, and the leader of this town told. I didn't just do it of my own volition. The leader of this organization told me to do it, and she told me out of anger. I mean, that doesn't necessarily excuse it, but that's why it happened. It's not saying it's a good or a bad reason, but that's why.
Right.
So yeah, he didn't really tell Morgan any of that stuff. So that's gonna be interesting to see how often they butt heads and to see what happens. I mean,
and I get the feeling Michonne's kind of leading towards Daryl's kind of like whatever. I'm Daryl. Michonne's kind of like, well, I'm balancing this out, and I think that there's going to be some group dynamics that are going to be kind of discussed later on. Like there's going to be a power struggle between Morgan and him, so it's just part of it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the things that we go through this season is they've been this tight-knit group up to now, but now they're starting not to see eye to eye. So Daryl wants to go recruit more people and Rick doesn't. Michonne is kind of leaning more towards Morgan, so everybody's starting to form different opinions about things where before they've been they've been one unit and they've all agreed to follow Rick at one point, but now not so much. But I loved this episode. I really like where it's going. I like when they're all together. I like the community. I like seeing what's going to come up, more about the wolves. How is the community going to deal with the walkers and that kind of stuff?
In your opinion, guys, what do you think the purpose is going to be? Because we know just from seeing the previews that the compound, so to speak, is going to break down.
Oh, that's right. That's right. In the trailer, yeah, there's walkers coming through.
In the comics, it did.
Did it?
Yes, because Glenn and some of them barely escaped from it, but it didn't get broken into because of the way this storyline. It got broken into because of just a faulty wall, and they finally just broke through one day.
Or maybe the wolves will do something to let him in. I don't know. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen. I think this season is going to be them trying to salvage this community because it's the safest place that they've been and it's where they feel like home. They're going to try to. I think they're going to try to save it. They're going to be at odds with each other throughout the season, and they're going to have to save this community. And we'll see if
could they have put just one more Band-Aid on Rick's face?
Oh my gosh.
What do those little Band-Aids do? I mean, you see those in movies all the time.
It's just stitches. It's just
he had 9 of them on his face.
It looked like he had just
He needs Dollar Shave Club.
Dollar Shave Club in the worst way. But no, I'm just kind of seeing where the focus is going to go from here. I mean, what is the purpose? Is DC still in the picture? Is that where we're headed? Or
no. I don't think so. No,
Okay.
I mean, because Eugene said he was full of crap. He was making all that stuff up. I think they're here to stay as long as the community holds itself up. I think they're going to stay there. Oh, another thing that I love, Carol. Sweet little innocent Carol, who, unbeknownst to the entire community, can shoot anybody from 50 yards away in the head with a with a pistol or whatever. I mean, it's like she's hiding out. She's hiding her abilities and the entire character arc she's gone through. I love that she's not letting anybody in on that. So she's going to spring on somebody at some point. She's going to have to shoot. I think she's probably going to shoot somebody when nobody else expects it, or maybe she's going to rescue somebody from some walkers. Because she's a badass, but nobody knows. So I'm really excited to see everybody else find out about her the way we know her.
Right.
I think that'll be pretty interesting. But all in all, a great episode. I'm excited for this season. And we're going to do videos of each one of those. So if you want to see those, be sure to subscribe by clicking the button below. Of course, it's at youtube.com/nerdpunch. You can also visit us or follow us on Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, all of those /nerdpunch. And there's nerdpunch.com where we post some other stuff that we find online and where you can check our schedule of upcoming videos. But thanks for watching, guys. And until next time, we'll talk to you later. See ya.
See you later.